Ted Bundy grew up to be a charming, articulate, and intelligent young man. However, by the time he was a teenager living in Washington, Bundy already exhibited signs of the sadistic serial killer. Bundy confessed to murdering 30 women between 1974 and 1978. 5 women are known to have survived his attacks. Bundy was born in Burlington to Eleanor Louise Cowell. His father's identity remains unknown. For most of his life, Bundy was raised to believe that his grandparents, Samuel and Eleanor, were his actual parents and that Louise was his older sister. He didn't find out that Louise was his mother until his college years. This was done to avoid any social stigma placed on Louise for being an unwed mother. He lived with Louise in a house in Pennsylvania. When the two moved to Washington, Louise met a man named Johnny Bundy at a local church function. They were soon married, and Johnny adopted him, thus changing his surname to Bundy. Johnny treated Bundy well. Despite this, Bundy remained distant from his stepfather. Ted Bundy graduated from high school in 1965. In 1973, Bundy was accepted into the University of Puget Sound Law School, but after a few months, he stopped attending classes. In college, Bundy dated Stephanie Brooks. Stephanie Brooks was a pretty young lady, with long dark-colored hair, that she separated directly in the center. She originated from a rich and achieved family. But she broke up with him. The breakup was horrible and painful. He wanted Stephanie so badly. What's terrifying is all his victims were pretty young ladies, who are look-alike of Stephanie. In January of 1974, the disappearances began. Responding to this rash of disappearances, police called for a major investigation, and enlisted a number of different government agencies to help look for the missing girls. Bundy got pulled over by a Utah Highway Patrol officer on August 16, 1975, and then police searched his car. Handcuffs were one of many suspicious things found in Bundy's car. Police noticed several key things inside the car. On March 1, 1976, Bundy was found guilty of the kidnapping of Carol Daranch. He was sent to Utah State Prison for a sentence of 1 to 15 years. Bundy escaped from prison twice in 1977. He was indicted on murder charges for the death of a young Colorado woman, and decided to act as his own lawyer in the case. During a trip to the courthouse library, he jumped out a window and made his first escape. He was captured 8 days later. In December, Bundy escaped from custody again. He climbed out of a hole he made in the ceiling of his cell to fit through the small opening. Authorities did not discover that Bundy was missing for 15 hours. Bundy fled to Florida, where he committed his final murders. In the middle of the night of January 15, 1978, several residents at Florida State University's Chi Omega sorority house were sleeping when Bundy struck. He brutally murdered Margaret Bowman and Lisa Levy while they slept. He also attacked Karen Chandler, Kathy Kleiner, and Cheryl Ann Thomas that night, but all 3 women survived. 3 weeks after the Florida State University murders, 12-year-old Kimberly Leach disappeared from Lake City, and her body wouldn't be found until April 1978. He was arrested again for a traffic violation on February 15, 1978. He was finally sentenced to death and died in the electric chair on January 24, 1989. At the time of his execution, Bundy had confessed to 30 murders, though the actual number of his victims remains unknown. Bundy would prey on these women, with her often wearing his arm in a sling, or his leg in a fake cast, and walking on crutches. He would then use his charm and fake disability to convince his victims to help him carry books or unload objects from his car. He was also known to impersonate authority figures, such as police officers and firefighters, to gain victims' trust before he attacked. Bundy would often visit his victims, whom he dumped at a site in Taylor Mountain. He admitted to applying makeup to the corpses, having sex with them, Bundy also kept a collection of photos of his victims that he took with a Polaroid camera as a way of remembering the crimes. Ted Bundy killed anywhere from 30 to 40 women, making him one of the most infamous and terrifying serial killers in American history.